Usually, you would see a beautiful mountain landscape right here behind me, but you don't because it's so rainy. Welcome to Montenegro. Montenegro isn't just one of the least populous countries in Europe. Its capital, Podgorica, also carries the reputation of being Europe's most boring capital. There's really not much going on. Despite this lack of activities, I decided to travel to the small Balkan country to find out whether visiting this former Yugoslav state is actually worth it. But what I found in the end were unexpected bureaucracy. I'm officially registered now. An acquired local cuisine.
This is cheesy, look at this.
And weather conditions I hadn't anticipated. Good morning to the bus station here in Mostar, a small town in Bosnia and Herzegovina. From here, we're gonna take a bus to cross into the neighboring country, Montenegro. I'm right here at the bus station, and our bus is supposed to come in about 30 minutes, and then we'll start. This was actually the first time during my trip through the Balkans that a bus left late. But I'd also heard that Montenegro has a bit of a reputation for being the laziest country in Europe. So maybe things just start a little slower here. About 30 minutes past the scheduled time, we finally hit the road, leaving Mostar behind and passing shepherds with their flocks across wide open fields and winding mountain valleys. It's 12 noon. We have noon now. We're here on a little stop in a random town near the border to Montenegro. We have 45 minutes here, so I'm gonna have some burek here with cheese. I love these things so much. And then in 45 minutes we're gonna continue. We're gonna cross the border into Montenegro, and I think then it's about 2 more hours to Kotor. So next time I'm gonna talk to you, we're hopefully in Montenegro. The border crossing was quick and straightforward. Before long, everyone on the bus had been stamped out of Bosnia and into Montenegro. As we continued toward the coast, the sky grew heavier and more overcast, and soon we reached the winding, picturesque bay of Kotor on the Adriatic Sea. I just arrived here in my room, right in the old town of Kotor, and it is super nice. Let me show you. Because we're right here in the old town. It started raining very heavily. I just really hope this is gonna be over by tomorrow. I have really bad news. The rain has not stopped since last night. And looking at my phone, it's also not gonna stop anytime today. And I only have this one day here because tomorrow I'm gonna take a bus to the capital, Podgorica. So I'd say we're just gonna do that in the rain today. The weather is so bad. Montenegro has a very unique rule for tourists. Within 24 hours after arriving to a new place, you have to register at the tourist office. You cannot do this online, and you have to pay €1 per day in cash for every destination you're staying at. So I have to do this here today in Kotor. Otherwise, if like a police officer checks you in the streets, it's a fine of €50. And latest when you want to leave the country, especially via land, which I'm planning on doing, they're gonna check for this registration. So here we have it. This is the tourist office, I think. Let's see. Oh no, this is closed. The registration in the old town is temporarily closed. Wow, guys, this sucks so much because the weather is like incredibly bad. And now the tourist office is closed. So now let's find the other office to register here. At the other tourist office that was closed, they told me I have to go here. And that's where I just went. And they told me I have to go somewhere else, which is a 15-minute walk away. Well, guys, look at this weather. Let's just hope the rain is gonna stop throughout the day so that we can do the registration later. Otherwise, I just really don't know. Here you can get an idea of how much it is raining. So since the rain is just getting worse and worse, I'd say let's head back to our accommodation. The old Mediterranean port of Kotor is surrounded by impressive fortifications dating back to the Venetian period. Today, it's recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. I guess a good thing about coming to Montenegro in November is that there are less crowds here, because there are very, very big cruise ships coming to the port, bringing so many tourists here. You don't have as many crowds, but at the same time you have rainy season and weather like this here. During high season, up to 4 cruise ships can unload thousands of tourists into the small town of Kotor each day. The thought of sharing these narrow alleyways with that many people honestly sounds worse to me than wandering through them alone in the rain. I'm back here at my accommodation and there are 2 problems. First, my shoes are wet. And second, I didn't manage to do the registration stuff because you saw the weather. I bet this is an amazing town, really, really beautiful. But not right now. Later in the day, the rain finally stopped for a short while. I took the opportunity, rushed to the other registration office, and was able to register at last. The fee is actually very affordable, at only €1 per day. I just wish there were an option to do this whole process online, instead of having to walk through the pouring rain. Good morning to the last day here in Kotor. I have very bad news again because it's still raining outside. Though I have to check out today and I have to catch a bus to the capital, Podgorica. Even though it was raining a lot, I still had a great time here in Kotor and I would definitely come back. It is way more touristy than any other place I've visited in the Balkan so far. Stuff in general is also a little bit more expensive here. And now I'm very excited to see the capital. The drizzle is actually not too bad, so that's really good. Let's head to the bus. This is the other city gate. Look down here through these like window-like things, you can see the water out there. And all the mountains up there. This is really so much nicer without all the rain. So I can only imagine how nice this place would be in summer times. I got my bus ticket. The bus is gonna go in about an hour, so while we wait, I got myself some breakfast. And of course, as you can see, it is another börek. And this lady just gave me the 4th of a whole börek. To switch it up, I got the one with spinach and cheese this time. So cheers. Look at all these kitties. It turns out that cats actually really like börek. Not long after, I was on a bus heading to Montenegro's capital, Podgorica. The ride passed quickly, and in less than 2.5 hours, we arrived. Welcome to Podgorica, the capital of Montenegro. And as you can see, the weather isn't very good again. Yesterday when I arrived, it was actually better for a couple of hours and the view here was really, really nice with the mountains around. But as you can see, today it's raining again, unfortunately. But nevertheless, I'm gonna have to head out because I'm gonna have to register myself again. And while I'm out, we're also gonna explore the city a little bit. Down here we have the old town of Podgorica and I definitely wanna check it out. I also want to try some typical food from Montenegro because in Kotor pretty much all you get is either seafood or Italian risottos, pasta, pizza. But I would like to try the food here that you can get in some more mountainous regions. So I'm gonna put on my rain jacket and then we're gonna head out. On the map, this area here is labeled as the Old Town of Podgorica. But looking around, it definitely does not look like your average old town or what you would expect from an old town. And it definitely looks very, very different to the old towns I've seen in Bosnia. And the thing is, this city, Podgorica, was almost entirely destroyed during the Second World War. So this was all gone. And the city had to be rebuilt after. And as Montenegro was part of Yugoslavia, it was rebuilt in a very Eastern style with like the typical Komi blocks. And my guess is that the old town here was just never really reconstructed in the typical Ottoman style. We have a mosque over there, but otherwise I would say this almost looks more like a random village. And here we have one of the main sites of Podgorica, the Podgorica clock tower. As you can see, it definitely is rebuilt as pretty much everything else in the city. And yeah, I don't know what you think, but I don't think it looks too spectacular. If you're interested in some more personal insights of my travel and also my personal life, I do have a Patreon channel, so if you're curious, feel free to check it out. I put the link into the video description and also in my channel information you can find it. I'd say the time has come to try some Montenegrin food. And this here is where we're gonna get it. I just ordered a typical dish here from Montenegro. It's mostly eaten in the mountainous regions. It's called kakamak. Here we have it. It is kind of a porridge made out of potatoes, corn flour, and cheese. I literally do not have any expectations of what that might taste like. So let's just try it. It seems similar to like mashed potatoes, which I know from my home country, but this is cheesy. Look at this. Cheers. That is really rich. That is really rich, really cheesy, really filling. It's a strong cheese. They use a strong mountain cheese probably. And this dish originated in the mountain villages because back then workers needed a lot of energy to work in the fields, to work outdoors. And this food is definitely very rich and filling and will give you all the calories you need for that sort of work. And from what I've read, it is known as a mushy comfort food. And mushy, that's what describes this dish very, very well. Cheers. If I hadn't been the only guest in the restaurant, and if the waiter's English hadn't been that perfect, this is incredibly rich and filling. I probably would have been honest and admitted that I really did not like this dish. Let's continue exploring the city, and I think the rain has stopped. I think it's finally not raining anymore, which is great. So let's continue. The next thing I have to do is I have to register here in town. So I have to go to the tourist office, which should be located somewhere over there in an area that is labeled as downtown on the map. So let's go to Podgorica downtown. And I think this is it. We're entering the downtown area of Montenegro's capital city. I'm officially registered now, and here it's actually only 90 cents a day, so I guess I really saved here. And now we can continue exploring. Here we have some sort of nice-ish plaza. This is actually the Independence Square here, right behind me. And here we have the Independence Monument. to celebrate the country's independence. Because Montenegro is actually only independent since 2006. When former Yugoslavia fell apart in 1992, Montenegro decided in a referendum to remain in a federation with neighboring Serbia. This marked a stark contrast to other former Yugoslav states, such as Bosnia and Herzegovina, as well as Kosovo, which fought for years against Serbia to gain independence. Only years later, in 2006, did Montenegrins decide in another referendum to become independent. Even then, only around 55% of voters supported independence. And unfortunately, it started drizzling again. The weather isn't great and there's also not many people around. But the thing is, I don't know if that's only due to the weather or due to the fact that Montenegro is considered the laziest country here in the Balkans. And for people here in Montenegro, this is not offensive. They're actually really proud of their title, of their record. And every year there's actually a big contest taking place here in the country to find out who is the laziest person here in Montenegro. Podgorica is often called the most boring capital city in all of Europe. And after spending about 24 hours here, I do see why the city has this reputation, because there is really not much going on. I think we've seen everything there is to see here in Podgorica. The weather is pretty bad, but luckily there aren't too many sites here in the city, and I think we've seen all of them. I definitely understand now why most travelers choose Podgorica only as a hub to take buses from here to other destinations within Montenegro, to the coast or to the mountains, or maybe even to nearby countries, because here in Podgorica there's really not much to do, not much to see. For my next video I'm gonna travel to North Macedonia, a country that's still on my list, which I haven't visited here in the Western Balkans yet, and I hope you're gonna join me on this next adventure. Thanks for watching this video until the end. I appreciate your support so much, and I hope to see you again next Thursday. Bye bye.